And for my next trick, I'll be upgrading this guitar, which I've had for several years now. It's actually my favorite guitar. I love the blue and the gold. It's got two regular humbucker pickups in it. Again, Seymour Duncan, JB in the bridge, Jazz in the neck, my favorite combination. It's got a normal master volume, master tone, and it's got a three-way switch. Nothing fancy. It's got a Floyd Rose bridge, locking nut, gold tuners, Grovers, gotta love them, and some Dunlop strap locks. Now, over the years, I've done a lot of modifications to this guitar. It actually came with totally different hardware. All the hardware that you see in gold was originally black. This is an LTD MH1000, I believe. And it was a really nice guitar. I fixed it up over the years, added some parts just to get the kind of sound and playability that I wanted out of it. Also added a tremolo in the back, as you can probably see. But what we're going to be doing today is actually taking these two pickups, which are already very versatile on their own, and doing some different wiring that will give us a lot more tonal options. So if you remember on the previous guitar I was working on, I added a coil split on the volume knob, which gave it basically the ability to turn one of the coils of the pickup off and have it be a single coil. Well, today what we're going to be doing is what's called Jimmy Page style wiring, which means being able to coil split the bridge pickup or the neck pickup or both, having a series parallel switch as well as a phase switch to put the pickups out of phase with each other. Now, normally that's accomplished through the use of 4 push-pull knobs in like a Les Paul style guitar where there's 2 independent volumes, 2 independent tones. You have a lot more switching options there. The goal with today's video actually is to take that concept, that idea of having all those different tonal options in a guitar that only has a volume and a tone, a single master volume, single master tone, and a three-way switch. Now, what's really interesting about this is that Seymour Duncan, once again, has come out with a really great product that I'm looking forward to trying, where you actually get some switching options built into the humbucker mounting rings. It's called the triple shot system, and I have a set for both the bridge and the neck pickup. What that'll allow me to do is actually independently control which coil, so not just one or two, but actually which coil is on or off, getting some more options in terms of putting each pickup out of phase or in phase with itself in addition to that, and then adding a whole bunch of other options. But the main thing that's going to be the benefit of that is that I'll be able to accomplish that Jimmy Page style wiring, which gives all those different tonal varieties, without having to drill any extra holes in the guitar, without adding any extra pots or knobs or anything, using all the stock mounting configuration and still getting all that flexibility out of one guitar. So this guitar is really quickly going to become a jack of all trades, if you will. So I'll be able to get all different kinds of pickup combinations of tonal varieties, in phase, out of phase. I can have a split humbucker here and a full humbucker here and anything in between. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see, number one, how it comes together, but also just to test it out and see what I can get out of it. I'm really excited about it. So that's going to be coming next. Now I'll show you what we're going to do to make that happen. So just again, a quick overview of what the goal of this little project is today. Basically what I'm going to do is an entire electronics overhaul of everything that's in this guitar. And again, all the pieces are functioning right now, with the exception of the input jack has been a little loose, and I've been meaning to change this out to a gold one to match the rest of the hardware for a while, so that's both cosmetic and functional. That input jack's been loose for a while. But like I said, we're going to add a whole bunch of tonal versatility into this guitar with some of the things we have here. So I figured since I'm going to be gutting 90% of the electronics, I might as well just redo the entire thing. The nice thing about this is that I'll be able to wire it all outside the guitar and just kind of drop it in when it's all done, which is going to make it a lot easier to work with. I also end up investing in one of these guys. I think it's called a helping hand. This is just going to help with the whole wiring process, holding things in place, especially when I have to, solder stuff. But basically what we're going to be doing is replacing the three-way switch. I always think of it as a 5-way, but it's a 3-way blade style switch. There's also going to be 2, not 1, but 2 push-pull pots. These are both 500K. And similar to what I did on the previous guitar I was working on, these are going to be a nice little way to activate a switch while also functioning as a full pot or potentiometer. So one of them will be the master volume, one of them is going to be master tone. And what I'm going to end up using these for is actually for a phase switch and a series switch. I forget which one goes where. I want to say the series switch is in the volume pot. I'll have to look at the diagram a little bit later. But basically, those are going to be taking over those roles, while the triple shots, which are right here, and I think I put that one in upside down. The triple shots, that's the thing I was telling you about that allows you to connect the pickup to this little device. And then you can actually adjust, which is really cool, through the pickup ring itself. If you see those two little switches on the side there. Those will help you select a whole bunch of different tonal options as well, right from the pickup ring. And the whole thing is just soldered right to the volume pot, the tone pot. So I have two of those, one for the neck pickup, one for the bridge pickup. And have some spare wire in all sorts of different colors. Here's the new input jack. And here's the new input jack plate cover, which again, gold to match everything else. A couple new capacitors, because I figured why not, since I'm going to be redoing electronics, might as well redo that as well. Soldering iron, helping hands, wire strippers, solder, screwdriver, and might as well throw some new strings on it while we're at it. So yeah, should be a fun little project, and let's see how it turns out. So first up, just going to wire up the two pots to each other and get all the phase switching and series switching figured out. So again, the volume pot is going to end up being the series, or the phase switch rather. The tone pot's going to be the series parallel switch. So I'm just going to kind of pre-wire that all up and then wire them together, get them eventually wired to the three-way switch, and then get all that wired up to the input jack. Once that's all wired, I can wire the pickups to the triple shots, and then throw it all on the guitar, and from there it's basically like, two solder joints. So that should be easy enough. I am going to throw on the new capacitors as well onto the tone pot specifically. So I'm going to have one left over. Might use that for the Les Paul, which I'll be wiring up at some point too. But one thing at a time. Alright, so you can see I removed the old pickups as well as the old three-way switch and pots. I blocked off the trem for now. Applied some lemon oil to the fretboard and cleaned up the frets a bit. Did some polishing. Right now in the middle of wiring up the new humbucker rings, the triple shot system, to the pickups themselves. I already have the three-way switch and the volume and tone pots wired up and ready to go, so as soon as I finish getting that all set, I'll just throw all the electronics back in and then we should be good to go. Alright, as you can see, I finished wiring everything up. I actually taped off where the bridge pickup wire was before I connected everything. So all that's really left to do now is wire up the output jack and then throw everything back in the guitar, and then we should be all set. So looking forward to that. Alright, so I have everything wired in. You can see the bridge pickup and the neck pickup are both equipped with that triple shot system. Threw some new strings on it, polished up a little bit, double checked the setup. Setup is actually spot on. It now has the push-pull knobs on both the volume and the tone, as well as the new three-way switches. That feels so much better than it did before, much more solid. I'm not going to show you the electronics cavity because it is a true rat's nest of cables and wires, so I'll spare you that. But I did manage to bring it up to tune, and I plugged it in using the guitar tuner and just kind of real quick put it on a bunch of different settings to see if every mode essentially was giving an output signal, and it seemed to be working. With the only exception being that when you're in the neck position and the series parallel switch is on, that's actually a known issue or a feature if you choose to use it as a kill switch. But so you have neck position with the series switch on because it goes series. If you take the bridge pickup out, it won't go through. It's kind of a long story, but anyway, that I knew about already, so everything else worked perfectly. So now it's just to test it and see how it sounds. Alright, so I have the triple shot system set up right now so that it's just in like normal mode, for lack of a better term. So standard humbucker here, standard humbucker here. Right now I'm in the bridge position. I'm just going to kind of cycle through some of the things and make sure that everything sounds the way it's supposed to. So let's see. So this is the bridge pickup. Okay. Middle position. Neck position. Okay, so again, that's normal humbucking mode. What we're going to do now is start messing with the triple shot system. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is turn on just the southmost coil, if you will, so the one closest to the bridge of the bridge pickup, and everything else should be turned off. So let's see how that works. I had a screwdriver somewhere. There we go. So it's really quick. I'm going to do a tap test. I'm going to tap the north coil first. That one's on. That one's off. Okay. So now I'm going to flip them both to the other position. That one's on. That one's off. So you can see you can kind of select which coil you want. You can also put it out of phase. Slightly different tone than just a normal humbucker, which would be here. So yeah, it's very loud in humbucker mode. And then if you wanted to just do single coil mode versus so now you have single coil. See, that sounds a little different. So anyway, that's how that works. Going on to the neck position. Okay, let's activate just the southern coil, I believe. Nope, head over reverse. So this coil's on, this one's off. Okay, putting both switches to this position. That coil's on, that one's off. So we now have a single coil in the neck versus the humbucker. Again, you can feel that there's a volume drop when you go to single coil mode versus humbucker mode. So now we have a coil tap that can basically not just turn half the pickup off, but you can actually select which half of the pickup you want, which I think is pretty cool. You can even put it as if it was two, out of phase single coils, almost like an old school Strat or Telly. So yeah, kind of interesting actually. Okay. Now I'm going to put everything back in just normal humbucker mode for a second. I can hear the humbuckers a little bit louder. Now we're going to go into the series and parallel switch. So normally, to give you guys a quick rundown, with two pickup guitars or with really any guitar that has multiple pickups, most of the time if you activate both of those pickups, they'll be in parallel with each other. For instance, on the Les Paul, you'll have a humbucker here, you'll have a little toggle switch in the middle position. Both pickups are running simultaneously. Now the difference is when you run parallel, you're essentially taking like the average of these two pickups. So you have the output here, the output here. If you have both the volumes on 10, you get a tone that's like somewhere in between. So that's the way that that's normally wired up in many two humbucker guitars. What this switch is going to allow me to do though is instead of treating these as if they were two pickups and just taking like the average of each, it's actually going to allow me to put them in series with each other. So what that means is that instead of having a humbucker and a humbucker, like, humbucker divided by 2 equals this tone we get, you're actually going to be able to run this as if it's one big pickup. So what that's going to mean is much bigger output, much bigger sound, and then that's going to be what happens there. So it's almost like instead of just a normal 2-coil humbucker, you have like a 4-coil humbucker, so a lot more output, again, much bigger tone. So that's going to be what we do with the series switch, which I'm actually going to activate now. So that's going to be on the tone knob. Okay, so that's normal humbucker in the bridge position. Now everything's in series, so it's like one big pickup. Sounds a bit louder, actually. Yeah, so again, bigger output, bigger tone, so that's how that works. Next up is going to be the phase switch. So the way the phase switch works is it basically takes the two pickups and puts them out of phase with each other. So for instance, if I'm in the middle position, I have the phase switch on. Kind of a thin tone. Now it's running parallel again. Or sorry, now it's in phase. So again, this is out of phase. it's in phase. So a bunch of different tonal varieties. Again, one thing to remember is that in the neck position, when you have the series switch on, see, no sound coming from the end. So that's that kill switch position we're talking about before. You get plenty of sound here. So you essentially get a kill switch. Not sure if Jimmy Page meant that as a bug or a feature, but let's call it a feature. Like I said, lots of different tonal varieties you can get. You can now get single coils on each pickup. You can get phase switch, series parallel switch. So it's kind of interesting. Play around with it a little bit more, but I'm digging the single coil in the neck. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of nice having a single coil on the neck, humbucker on the bridge, but the nice thing is I can just switch on the fly. If I want a humbucker on the neck, I have one. If I want a single coil, I have one. If I want a single coil on the neck and humbucker on the bridge, you have that. So, lots of different tonal varieties here. I am really excited to experiment with that, but this is a fun project. Definitely the most complicated wiring scheme I've ever had to do, so that was a challenge. But I am really happy with how it came out. Everything seems to be working, so yeah, can't complain there. I think my favorite part of the whole thing was when it was over and I knew everything was working. So yeah, that was a really big relief. Anyway, thanks guys for watching.